Welcome back to the Virtue Bowling Supply YouTube channel, your go-to place for non-staff, non-biased, multi-style reviews. My name is Chris and I'm here to bring your high rev perspective.
And my name is Josh and I will be bringing the low rev perspective.
Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new DV8 Severe Collision, and I'm going to be comparing it to the track Paragon Shadow and the Motive Evoke Hysteria.
And I'll be comparing it to the Radical Torpedo and the Hammer Black Widow Mania. These comparisons will give us and you an idea of what these pieces look like going down the lane. At the end, we'll give our honest, unbiased review anywhere from nuts to trash. Today we are bowling on a slightly burnt up house shot here at Bolero Mesa. And with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you out on the lanes.
All right, just wrapped up throwing the brand new DV8 Severe Collision, and wow, this one looked really good. Here with a little bit of a clipped house shot, it's a little bit burnt up, but this one blended it really well. For it being a somewhat cleaner asymmetric piece, I don't typically find these ones to look great on something that's really clipped, but this one kind of had miss from anywhere. My little misses were still striking. The only couple that I missed were like really bad shots off my hand, like got around it a little bit too much on one of them and it kind of went through the head pin, and one that was just maybe a hair forward and kind of swishered, but honestly ball reaction looked kind of nuts. I really like this one going down the lane, so now I'm going to go ahead and throw Paragon Shadow and see how that compares. All right, after seeing the Paragon Shadow go down the lane, this one's for sure a step up from the Severe Collision. I think it's just a little bit earlier. The Severe Collision definitely wanted to retain a little bit more energy than the Paragon Shadow. I think they're both honestly just as continuous. The Paragon Shadow is actually pretty, it sees the spot and wants to continue pretty well for a stronger ball. So in that aspect, they're pretty similar, but I think the Severe Collision is just a little bit more down lane than the Paragon Shadow. Now I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Motive Evoke Hysteria and see how that compares. After seeing the Evoke Hysteria go down the lane, I feel like this one's a little bit closer to the Paragon Shadow than it is the Severe Collision. I think the Severe Collision is just a little bit more off spot than the Evoke Hysteria. Overall, the Evoke Hysteria I want to be a little bit earlier and a little bit more rounded off the end of the pattern. Still clean, but ultimately more rounded than the Severe Collision for sure. All right, final thoughts on the brand new DV8 Severe Collision. This one is the first DV8 ball that I've thrown that has really kind of wowed me out of the box. Almost every shot that I threw, even when it wasn't that great, it really just, I want to say wow, just because of the ball reaction. I thought it was really good going through the pins. It was really blendy off the end of the pattern, especially even here on something that's a little bit more clipped, so I really enjoyed throwing this one. All right, and with that being said, my final rating for the DV8 Severe Collision is going to have to be nuts. This one was probably my favorite DV8 ball that I've thrown in a while. It just looks so good going down the lane and kind of gives you the confidence that you can kind of throw it anywhere, especially on something like this, and it still strikes. So.
Just wrapped up throwing the 10 shots with the DV8 Severe Collision. This ball, boy oh boy, I threw first couple shots and I just felt like I could not necessarily throw it anywhere. I was making some pretty good shots, but the way it reacted was something I haven't really seen before. I've seen other bowling balls kind of in the same zone, but I just felt like if I got it a little right, it just waited on me. It almost was like listening to what I was saying, where every shot I threw, it just did the right thing. Only missed once, and I haven't done that yet with the ball, so this one is definitely going in my list of favorites and something I'd like to throw in the future. Now we're going to go ahead and throw 5 shots with the Radical Torpedo and see how it compares. Just threw 5 shots with the Radical Torpedo. This ball for me felt like it was just a smidge earlier and a little bit more forward, but still gave me that really good ball reaction at the moment. Definitely, this is the the type of ball you need to be throwing at this point in time. It just was able to get through the fronts, but still forward enough to where it was predictable and could really miss in both directions, and it still was able to climb its way back to pocket. So now we're going to go ahead and throw 5 shots with the Black Widow Mania and see how it compares. Just threw 5 shots with the black Widow Mania. This ball for me, I felt like it was cleaner than both, as in it got further down the lane, but I did feel like once it did hook, it was actually more forward off spot. It definitely wanted to kind of roll toward the pins instead of really truly harshly change direction. Because of that, it was kind of weird because I needed to get it to friction, but at the same time I felt like being straighter was actually a little better, but it still didn't give me a great reaction. Wasn't amazing. Definitely, again, more forward of a shape compared to the Severe, and just overall just not as good for what we're rolling on right now. Final thoughts on the DV8 Severe Collision. I feel like this ball is definitely a ball that I've been missing in my bag. I like the asymmetrical pearls, but this one for me just kind of blew it out of the water. It's definitely going to be in my bag. It's one of those balls where I felt like, again, I had a couple boards of misroom down the lane, and no matter what I did, the ball still did the right thing. With that being said, this one for me is kind of an easy rating. It is going to have to be a nuts. This is probably one of the best balls I've thrown on camera thus far. I felt like no matter what I did, it just worked. Just got 10 every time. I left one 10 pin, but that was a shot execution error, so even when I missed, it still got 9. So gonna have to be a nuts for today.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys found this video useful, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.